pleasure to introduce my friend who I'm so happy I have had the honor of meeting, and many of you have too, and you've ordered from him at the Meta Center. Without any further ado, we welcome Dr. Tony Vortex from the Meta Center. Hi, Tony. That was a long introduction, but I wanted to set the framework. How are you, dear?
I'm well. How are you, Kia?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for asking.
I just want to say to everyone, I'm not a medical doctor, just so you know. A lot of people do, because of the respect, because of the help that they're receiving, and so on and so forth, like to refer to me as that, but I am not a medical doctor, just so it's no confusion.
Okay. People are checking in and they're telling me that hello, good morning. They're saying, Kia, take rest for stress if you need to. I needed to hear that. Thank you. Good day, Dr. Bob Black and Sophia. Hello, Maureen. We see Sister Rozelle in the building. Thank you. Sister Crystal says peace to everyone. People are checking in. Good afternoon, Ronell Bay. It's so good to see you. Hi, more consciousness. Sister Sharon, grand and joyous rising to you as well. Somebody said, I need this in Dallas, Texas. All right. Saint the God is in the house. Hi, Saint. It's good to see you live from New York. Dr. Tony, I was just giving a brief introduction about how I can relate to what we're going to talk about today. And I can relate to the video of the mom who came to you for help after reaching out to many mental health professionals and contemporary doctors for her son. And it can be really embarrassing to say in the past, I've struggled with depression. I had chemical imbalance. I was in a deep, dark place. After being a minister, an evangelist, preaching to help people grow in churches, several churches, having master's degrees, a PhD, raising a family, furthering the legacy of my late husband. I mean, I was doing all this incredible work. And yet, Tony, I was struggling with the death of my father, the death of my mother-in-law, finances, trying to make things work out, raising teenagers at the time. We had 8 children, taking care of my husband, and even trying to help so many people in the ministry and in the community. It took its toll on me, and I was embarrassed to say, I need help. Can you just speak? I'm just going to turn the floor over to you and just let you speak on this battle that we're going through, and just whatever God puts on your heart to say. I'm just going to yield the floor to you. What do you think about that?
Okay, so first I will start because I am a minister, have been since about close to 17 years now. I don't really say that much, okay, but because I do study, I try to study everything as much as I can, okay, and so but one of my favorite passages is Psalm 73:26, and pretty much goes, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Okay. And so the metaphysical view of that in a way is that our internal vortex, right? Our spirit, our soul, all right, it's not defined by the flesh.
Okay.
So even though our flesh may feel tired, we can recharge ourselves internally to continue on. So that's like, for example, one thing that likes to be used a lot is the mother whose child is in danger, let's say underneath a car. And these use that example a lot, that the mother, the slim mother who physically really is unable to lift a car, is virtually physically impossible, but yet she does that to save her child, right? So at that moment in time, her internal vortex, now the physical realm would say that's just adrenaline, but still the internal vortex charges up and is able to send the needed power through the physical body for one to be saved at that time, right? In that event. But afterward, typically they don't talk about it. Afterward, like that woman's ligaments could be stretched out. It could be tore. Okay. She could have bone issues and so on and so forth, because you push the body beyond its natural limit. Okay. Now this internal vortex, if you have a soul, which I'm sure your audience does, we all do, right? I'm sure that if you're able to understand the words that are coming up my mouth right now, more than likely you are awakened in some form. Okay. And so this awakening in this vibrancy that we have most definitely can lead us further for all of us to benefit in our own individual way. So this leads to me saying that I want to give everyone here a hand clap, including myself, right, for surviving the
Mm,
most the most heaviest psychological warfare program that has been instituted on all of us over the past
yes.
few years. Okay. Uh,
Yes.
if you could for a moment, Kia, could you bring up the
Yes.
Biderman's chart of coercion?
Okay.
And so today I'm going to be explaining just quite a few different things to you all, but there's going to be solutions to most of what you're going to be seeing. Okay.
Okay.
So, but we all need to be on the same page knowledge wise, so we understand what has taken place and what possibly will take place, so you're able to recognize when someone's trying to influence you in some form or fashion that's not to your benefit. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So for those who don't know, the Biderman's chart of coercion is a framework that outlines the methods of coercion used to break the wheel or brainwash individuals. Okay. It was created by Albert Biderman, a
Mm,
social scientist, during his research in the 1950s. And he was particularly studying the techniques used by Chinese and Korean interrogators during the Korean War on
mm,
American prisoners of war. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over, it's about 8 techniques in this chart. Okay.
okay.
And I'm going to give an example of each technique. So you all start to, I'm sure will start those light bulbs will start going off in the minds, and you'll start to see just some of the of what has taken place in relation to over the last few years. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So the first in the Biderman's chart, one of the first go-to for an oppressive regime or government is to create isolation.
Mm,
And an example of this is detach the individual from social groups, making them more susceptible to the coercion and control.
okay.
Okay. The second one deals with the monopolization of perception. Okay. So
Mm,
it limits the individual's access to contrasting perspective. So you may say, this is tomato, but someone may else say this is tomato, right?
mm,
We
mhm,
have to cancel out anyone who says anything tomato at all and only focus on those who say tomato. Okay.
mhm.
So it limits the individual's access to contrasting perspectives, focusing their attention on the coercion environment itself. Okay.
Okay.
The third aspect is induced, you could say, exhaustion. Okay.
Mm,
Where this is purposely, it weakens the physical and mental resistance through fatigue, sleep deprivation, and other means.
mhm,
Okay. And this is to weak you over time in warfare. This will be called, like when there's a term called the war of attrition, where you're
mm,
just, where because for whatever reason you don't want to go head to head with the adversary,
mhm.
so would just do more subversive acts to weaken them over time. Okay,
Okay.
so to weaken their morale and so on and so forth. Okay,
Okay.
the next one is threat. Whether this is that's pretty self-explanatory, but this implies or directly states threats of harm, further loss, or other negative consequences. If you don't comply now with the other three I just named, all right, isolation, the monopolization of perception, uh, exhausting. If you don't comply with what we want, we're going to threaten your livelihood, threaten, through job loss, through freezing of
Mhm.
accounts. Now you won't get that loan that you need, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Yes.
Occasional indulgences provides the intermediate positive reinforcement to confuse and create hope, making the victim more compliant. Okay.
Mm,
Um, and things are not, of course, we're going on the news, things overall are not as bad as they seem. Jobs are, there's more jobs that have ever been created right now, going on right now. People looking around like, but I'm seeing my family, my friends are having a hard time. Where's all these supposed jobs that they keep talking about? You know what I'm saying? And
right.
so on and so forth, right? That
Yes.
be a part of that. Um, this would be number six. Okay, demonstrating. Um, well,
Omnipotence.
yeah,
Okay.
omnipotence. Thank you for that. Okay, so omnipotence. So project. It projects an image of superior knowledge to intimidate and subjugate. Okay.
Mhm.
The next one is degradation, which degrades the individual, making resistance seem more costly than submission, right? If
Mm.
you could submit, everything would be okay, versus Um, what will happen if you don't submit, right? It's going to be longer of this going through the trenches. We just need to submit now, and things will be okay, and things will get back to normal. How many times have we
Absolutely.
heard it will get back to normal, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And right now, can you honestly say, anyone who's listening to my voice right now, say that are things back to normal? Okay.
No.
Um, we hope, people again create this facade, this delusion in a way, and I don't mean that in to make fun of or anything like that, because they want things to be back a certain way, because the stress is just so much. They create a facade that things are normal and everything is floating around, butterflies and bees and rainbows and everything else, but in reality it's not that at all. And the last one is to enforce trivial demands, okay,
Mm.
which conditions the individual to comply through the enforcement of mundane or pointless rules. Okay. Part of that, for example, we could go back to like even like the TSA, the checkpoints and so on and so forth,
Yes.
where they're really molesting people.
Mm.
And so that's a whole nother story to its own. But for those who do know about that, that's what they're doing. But it's to comply with something that these acts don't necessarily have to happen the way they're happening.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's to also belittle you, to bring down your morale, and so on and so forth. So what I just went over is partly there's many other psychological techniques that were utilized during this campaign that took place from 2020 to, let's say, 2022 ish, right? Uh,
Yes.
but this is one of the main charts that was used step by step. Now,
Mm.
now in saying that, if you're listening to my voice, you're here, right? You know what I'm saying? So we all survived this, because this was very direct. Usually these types of actions, they have been going on for decades, but usually it's more subversive. It's kind of a bit more hidden, where you have to actually be paying attention to it, or know of these techniques to know that it's going on.
Yes.
But so, but this happened to all of us directly. And
Mm.
with that, it created many diamonds. Okay. Pressure does two things, because this is pressure. Okay. Lots of pressure. It can
Yes.
create a diamond, or it could break a pipe.
Mm.
We do know many people's pipes did burst. We know this.
Mm.
Okay. But many people also became extremely awakened, meaning that they became diamonds. So,
Mm.
so in that, again, you should congratulate yourself because of that. But it led to a bit of, now that people have survived that, many of them have become awakened and so forth, but now it's become coping mechanisms have now come into play, right?
Yes.
And these coping mechanisms are not good at all, because these are really self-harming activities.
Mm.
um Kia, could you please bring up the obesity chart?
Sure. Tony, I wanted to ask you something about
Mhm,
us having survived that.
mhm,
Could it, we lost, we saw a loss of a lot of people. I know because people either got sick from what they did during the shutdown,
mhm.
or the remedy, so-called remedy, they got sick for that. I wondered if some energies chose to leave during that time. Could that be the case? I've heard some people kind of postulate that that could have been that it what was going on might have been too much from for some people to deal with, and so maybe they chose to exit during that time. Is there a philosophy out there that affirms that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily a philosophy per se, but a
Okay.
lot of people did self-delete
Mm.
in some form or fashion, right? Because it's a lot of stress. Some people, we talking about this the other day, that some people live in their own personal realities in such a way. Um, that's the COPD one.
Oh,
Kia.
this is not the right one. Okay.
No, the other one. So some people, their realities are different than others. There's many different realities that we could live. There's many types of delusions in a way that we can create over the common reality that
Okay.
we see. And this creates differences of opinion and so on and so forth, because we're both here in reality, we're both here in front of us, but we're seeing different things. And a lot of that becomes because we have changed our perception of what we're seeing, okay,
Mhm,
which is a form
mhm.
of delusion. So with that, it gets into where
Is
some
that it?
people,
Sorry.
yes, that's it. Mhm.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Where some people have lived very plush existences, okay,
Mhm.
without a lot of diversity.
Okay.
even though they live amongst the diversity. Okay.
Mm.
So let's say someone lives in a very affluent area of their city. Of course, that affluent area is not, so large that they don't see adversity or don't see poor or homeless or anything like that. But yet they have created this facade, and something that's due to indoctrination or just upbringing, and so forth, that
Okay.
they literally do not see any of that. Everything is butterflies, everything is sunshine and rainbows. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
But what happened during the lockdowns is that it forced a common reality on everyone, and that is you got to wear your mask, you got to do this, you got to do that. You travel restrictions, you got in to even with people who had this facade, this creation that they created of this perfect existence over reality. Now, when they're going to do their reality things, these people are saying that they have to inject you, or you
Mm.
have to submit to this, or we're going to arrest you or commit you, and so on and so forth.
Mm.
That
Mhm.
shattered these realities that may have went through their entire life without any adversity at all. Okay, the
Okay.
greatest adversity may be, should I get an avocado sandwich or a turkey sandwich kind of thing.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so many of those people self-deleted just because it became too much. Even though a lot of, during that time, there was a lot of also rhetoric saying this reality that we're experiencing, yes, this is extreme, but most of these issues have always been around. Where have you been?
Mhm.
Okay. And so a lot of that has been a lot of too much for a lot of people. And that's the
Mm.
importance of many of you, your listeners, um, in particular, where if you want to, whatever's in your heart to help, let's say your community or to bring things about into the reality, it's so important for you to do that. Okay.
Mm.
So that uh, the reality is, it's not just one specific way.
Yeah.
Okay, where let's say parasitic entities, anti-humans, these people with alien consciousness who want things to be so inhumane,
Mm.
that we have other options out there. Okay,
Okay.
so one of the self-harming challenges that people started to do was they became very obese during this time,
Mm.
right?
Okay. Yes, that's true.
It's very easy for all of us to, of course, food tastes good, right? uh, America, which is unlike many other countries, America has an issue with artificial food. So here in America, we have overall a
Mhm.
lot of artificial flavors in food groups, right? And so,
Right.
because of that, eating, even if you're just eating, if you're eating these things, of course, it's going to sugar content is extremely high. It's going to cause one even other health challenges, which we're going to get into here. Okay. Now, when we
Okay.
talk about obesity, we're going to keep this simple for the audience here. We're not talking about someone has a thyroid issue, they were born with it, or just somehow that happened. So it's very difficult for them to lose weight. We're not going to be talking about that. Okay. We're not talking about any genetic anomalies that may have just be taking place. Okay. We're talking about just a person who overall was in good health and they just keep eating and won't stop to the point that they are obese. Okay.
Okay.
So when it comes to obesity, and we're going to get to some solutions to this as well, everyone. So let me bring up something here on my end. So when it comes to obesity, there's a few challenges that is created, and this is all from just eating. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, and so mental health issues, right? So obesity is linked to increased risk of depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorders, often due to stigma, discrimination, and body dissatisfaction. Okay. And of course, we've seen, especially in the American social media, that they want to make it okay to be, I mean, 30, 50, 100, 200 pounds overweight. Okay.
Mm.
That is not okay. It causes stress on the joints. It could cause future health issues, which we're going to get into here, which all the thing I'm telling you here is facts. Okay.
Okay.
It's not a good thing to be that. So, of course, sleep related issues as well, right? Obesity can
Mhm.
increase the risk of sleep. Uh, say that one for me there, Kia.
Well,
Uh,
okay. Wait a minute.
oh,
I lost you. Hold on.
you don't see it. Okay. It's
What? Where is it?
APNEA.
Apnea. Sleep
Apnea.
apnea.
Sleep
Hmm.
apnea. I do appreciate that. Okay. So,
Sure. You're welcome, dear.
all right. So, obesity can increase the risk of sleep apnea, a potentially serious sleep disorder, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, leading to daytime fatigue and increased risk of heart disease and stroke. And that's just from not getting enough
Wow.
oxygen while you sleep. Okay.
Okay.
Kidney disease. Obesity increases the risk of chronic kidney disease, partly due to the associated risk of diabetes and high blood pressure. Of course, type 2 diabetes. a condition where the body's ability to use insulin effectively is impaired, leading to high blood sugar levels. Okay, heart disease and stroke basically leads to increased blood pressure, high cholesterol levels, uh, and the narrowing of the hardening of the arteries, which increase the risk of heart disease and stroke. It's also linked to gallbladder disease because it also increases gallstones as well. Certain cancers, including breast, colon, kidney, um, pancreatic, among others. Okay, reproductive problems. Uh, there have been affects hormonal balance and associated with fertility issues in both men and women. In women, it can lead to PCOS, a leading cause of infertility,
Mhm.
fatty liver disease, okay, and osteoarthritis. The extra weight exerted on the joints, particularly the knees, hips, and back, can lead to wear and tear of the cartilage, causing osteoarthritis. So these are so being obese just because one will not stop putting the food in their mouth leads to a whole host of challenges that can be lifelong, right?
Mhm.
So, what's some of the solutions to this? Because I know that based on the people who are coming into the center, based on the phone calls we're receiving, a lot of people are dealing with some form of this. And it's not just people who tend to, we have a very anti where you would say one thing, somebody's going to come and say another, okay, sometimes just to be argumentative, okay?
Mhm.
And so one of the objections to being of wanting to be obese, that one should be this heavier weight, is the BMI charts and how supposedly
Yeah.
racist and this and that. We can add this. There's tools out there that can actually test your weight and seeing how much weight you're exerting on your joints. Okay,
Mhm.
that will break down or cause you lifelong challenges if you continue on at a certain weight or keep becoming heavier.
Okay.
Okay, so factually, actually, the human body is absolutely wonderful. It can take tons of abuse,
Mm.
okay, but it wants to be overall a very specific weight range, okay,
Okay.
and that weight range will keep us as healthy as possible, and so on and so forth. So let's talk about some of the solutions to this, okay. So one of the main things is limit sugar. I would say cut out sugar
Mm.
entirely, okay.
Okay.
So literally fruit is fine, okay, but any type of processed sugar, period, cut it out entirely, okay.
Okay.
Not only does it mess with our sleep, not only does it keeps weight on us, okay, makes it harder for us to lose weight. uh it's a excitotoxin, okay. It keeps the brain excited in times that we may not want to be that way.
Mm.
So and it keeps going on and on and on, right? So ideally, I would say if any of you would have came to me and collectively, what I would say to all the humans at this point, we are in 2024. 2024 is the year of the human. We see a lot is going on around us. Many different challenges are happening. We see there's a parasitic class that has shown their face and said, we're going to cause you as much problems as possible. So at this point, it becomes, I would think, in our interest, our self-interest, to become as healthy as possible so we don't even have to at times partake in those types of activities that bring about harm to us in the first place long
Yes.
term. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
limit sugar, cut out sugar just entirely.
Really?
Yeah,
Entirely? Okay.
entirely. Sugar is very addictive. It may be difficult for a lot of people to do. Start with a week with no added sugar. Now if you look at most of your food that you eat, especially if it's any processed food, okay,
Mm.
it's
Okay.
all going to have added sugar in it, or the majority is going to have tons of added sugar. Um, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I would do a demonstration here, but I don't have any sugar here that I can actually show you. But
Okay.
maybe do that next time. So,
Okay.
um, so no sugar at all. Try for a week. No sodas. Again, nothing with sugar in it. Okay, even if it's supposedly a healthier sugar, or no sugar at all, no
Yeah.
added sugar at all. So stick to ideally if you really want to be on it and be as healthy as possible. Water only. If it's not water, then tea. When I say tea, I'm not talking about the Lipton teas. Again, all the sugary stuff in the stores. I'm talking
Yeah.
about actually having water and putting a tea bag in it. Okay.
Okay.
Um, smoothies is great. Again, no adding sugar. People add sugar or fructose into their smoothies. Not that at all. Honey is okay. I wouldn't even add agave for those who have sugar
Mm,
challenges, because agave, the there's a rating system when it comes to what sugar does to the body. I can't recall it right now as I'm speaking,
okay.
but agave is even higher than your typical sugar that you buy from the store. Okay.
Wow.
So no agave, a little honey, maybe, but a lot of times what ends up happening with that, that's why I tend to say not even honey. The reason why is because in not honey and tea or anything like that. The main reason why, because if a person struggles with sugar and they go a few days without sugar, they're going to be craving sugar, and then they start putting more amounts of the natural sugar sources into those drinks and things of that nature.
Okay.
So they normally do a half teaspoon of honey. Now they're doing a tablespoon or two of honey, because now they're craving the sugar,
Okay.
and now they're going to get it that way. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, uh, no refined carbs. The cakes, the pies, the
Mm,
cookies. Stop it. Okay, because we're talking about your health here. Your health is important, right? We need you. You have resisted the
mm,
this psychological warfare, which means that you are a special human here, right?
yeah.
And because that we're all here together, this, especially if you have potential to do better, if you have potential not only do better for yourself but your family, friends, but also you have potential not only do better for them but also for your community at large, and maybe even bring forth types of solutions that the community absolutely needs, then we need you to be as healthy as possible. Okay.
Yes.
So the next thing here is increase physical activity, which is simple, right?
Yes.
Exercise. Okay. Now here at the Meta Center, every week, every Wednesday, which is even today, right? We do yoga. It's kind of a mix of, we call it grounding meditation, where we're meditating as we're actually exercising. We're doing yoga stretches. We're doing exercise movements and so on and so forth as well why we meditate. Okay. And
Okay.
so we've been doing that for months now since we opened this new location. And so that's here at the Meta Center. And we do other activities during the week as well that deal with overall physical health. Okay.
Okay.
So if you're local, you're welcome to come. Some things cost a few dollars, but not much at all. If you are not local, whether it be your local gym, whatever it may be, even if it's not a gym, just walk around the block. Okay,
Mm,
use walk to the point ideally that you're building up a sweat. Okay, you don't want to walk, let's say, a mile, let's say, and you're not sweating at all. That either means that you didn't walk long enough or you didn't walk fast enough. Okay, so you want to be sweating when you do that. The next thing is eating fiber. Okay, we want to eat fiber because fiber also helps with our gut biome. Okay, microbiome. Okay, so
mm,
we want to eat fibrous foods. It would be the cabbages and the green leafy vegetables, and the fruits, raspberries, blackberries, these type of things, which help to keep our system moving properly. An extremely important one is portion control, but also what's called mindful eating. Okay, what mindful eating is that right now I would like everyone to close your eyes for a moment and hold your hand up. Either hand, doesn't matter, right or left hand. And I want you to put your awareness at the tip of one of your fingers. Okay. It doesn't matter which finger, but put your awareness at the tip of a finger.
okay.
Okay. And so if you're able to feel that, your tip of your finger, just by putting your awareness there, then give yourself a hand clap. If you're unable to feel it, no worries. Just practice at it. You should be able to feel that in time. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So, so the whole point of this is that that's in a way an example of when one becomes mindful. Okay, so you became mindful of the sensations of your own body, and you put your
Mm,
awareness at a certain part of your body and you're mindful of it. When it comes to mindful eating, what it means is that typically we're always on the go, always on the go.
mhm,
Some of that is cultural, but also some of that is due to the stress of feeling that we have to do more to try to stay ahead, and or even just to stay at a certain balanced state, right?
yes.
Mindful eating is where, let's say you have a meal in front of you. When you're eating, you are being mindful of every action in your eating. So for example, when you let's say you cut a piece of steak, let's just say, for example, right? And you cut it, the proper bite, you put it in your mouth, and you're being mindful, you're paying attention to how you chew as you chew it, and so on and so forth. You're not rushing, you literally are taking your time. Okay.
Mhm,
In doing this, you'll find that you actually have a greater chance to not overeat because you're being
Mhm.
mindful of how you're eating, okay? Which in turn allows your gut, your body to even let you know when it's full as well. Because a lot of times we eat
Mhm.
past our the point where we're full because we're eating too fast.
Yes.
The next one is a consistent sleep schedule. Okay, obviously we should get a good night's sleep. Some people they say on average is about 8 hours. Some people maybe six. Some people maybe a little bit longer. Some people maybe 10 hours a night.
Mhm.
That's the type of sleep their body needs. But ideally, okay, for those who work nights, this is a little bit different, and maybe we need to have a separate conversation about that. But for the typical person, you most definitely is better for the body to go to sleep earlier than go to sleep later. Okay.
Okay.
During the periods of time, let's say between 1:30 to maybe about 3:30 a.m. or so in your geographical region, most of the people around you are asleep. Okay. And during that time, it's our we have energy, right? All of us are energy beings, right? That's called the aura or magnetic field and so on and so forth. And it can literally be measured. Okay, when we're all up during the day and we're all moving around, it creates a lot of activity in the actual spaces around us.
Yeah.
Okay. But when at nighttime, when almost everyone is asleep, the activity goes down to the bare minimum. Okay. If one is actually has to be up during that time, it's actually a fantastic time to meditate. Okay. But
Mhm.
you want to make sure that especially if you are asleep, you want to be asleep during that period of time. That's the time that you will get the most deepest sleep because it's less congestion in the etheric realm around us. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So that's extremely important. The next one here is stress management. We want to manage stress. Okay. Exercise is fantastic. It helps with stress. Meditation helps with stress. Um, we want to visit those places like the Meta Center, which we do have a multitude of wellness modalities that help with stress. Okay, help one just relax and kind of recharge and so on and so forth. We are in a time that's extremely important. Okay,
Mhm.
I've been saying this more and more and more since 2024 started. I'm just want to keep saying it that you have to take care of yourself. You have to because a lot of people are more than likely depending on you to take care of yourself. Okay,
Yes.
so do you want to go to the next one now, or is there anything that you like to pause on there?
I do want to ask you about yoga.
Mhm.
Yoga, what I learned from practicing yoga, it is a unification of mind, body, spirit, meaning mind, body, and breath. So
Mhm.
you learn how to breathe properly. And what I learned from breathing properly and actually practicing yoga is that it sets the tone for the day. I'm way more I'm calm, more peaceful, and more mindful
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
how I'm living. But some people have been taught that yoga is sacrilegious, that it's against God. Can you help us there if we have people, not that we're not trying to convince or convert people, but no,
Mhm.
do you know where that comes from or how we can be a little more comforted in knowing that this is a practice that actually benefits the body?
Sure. So the issue with that becomes where it's because of the mantras and the
Oh,
prayers and things that they're
okay.
saying while they're doing this. Just moving your body. Let's say I'm just moving my arm like this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not demonic just because I move my arm like this. Okay, I'm just moving my arm around, right? And
Okay.
certain stretches help the body, helps the flow of the energy within the body. Okay, but
Okay.
now if I'm saying some mantra with it or some prayer with it,
Mhm.
especially in a language that a person can't understand, right? Okay,
Yes. Yes.
and also it's that where these practices at least directly originate in our more modern time, they have different gods or entities that they do pray to and worship than maybe a person here in America. Okay.
Okay.
So in that regard, it could be looked at as demonic in a way because these gods are strange gods. Okay. And maybe even because of the imagery at times and stuff like that, it can be
Okay.
seen as something that's evil. Okay.
Okay.
So, but when you do yoga, again, when I say it, I'm talking about more the physical movements. Okay.
Okay.
You
Okay.
don't have to say anything. You just focus on
Okay.
focus on your breath. Inhale through your nose, hold it for a
Mhm.
moment, exhale through your mouth, and just keep that rhythmic routine happening. But now, what I tell people anyway, personally, is that ideally, what comes out your mouth, you should understand. There's all
Okay.
types of
Mhm.
parasitic entities out here, anti-humans and the alien consciousness conglomerate that would love for you to just say things that they tell you to say. Okay,
Yes.
as I said, you just say, languages that you have no idea what you're saying, and you could be binding yourself, which is demonic.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So if we notice, uh, more and more practices which on the surface seem okay are have been flooding America for decades, if not more, right?
Yes.
And coincidentally, with all these supposed spiritual practices, with all these supposed beneficial modalities for people, society is getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
Okay, society is becoming more and more corrupted. Maybe it's something to do with a lot of these, not singling out yoga at all, but
Mhm.
seeing something with a lot of these practices. There's something going on that's creating a portal or a gateway for nefarious or insidious intentions to invade within. Okay, which again, that within is within us. Okay, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that. And one final question before we move on is Saint the God was saying, my doctor never mentioned sugar, but just pills that you should eliminate sugar. So I wanted to ask you, um, what do you do for some people who are hormonal? You naturally desire sugar, you naturally kind of overeat. I don't want to say because of the hormonal imbalance. Is there a way we can address that rather than using pills and taking hormones?
Well, I would say that there are some herbs that could potentially help one with hormonal types of issues, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so for example, and these are herbs that are available at the medicine center.
Okay.
Like for example, we have maca root, right? Maca
Mhm.
root is very well known. Okay, it comes
Okay.
in. There's the color of it looks the same, but the color
Mhm.
external of the maca root looks different. Like, there's black
Okay.
maca, which typically has more
Mm.
phytonutrients and so
Okay.
forth that are better for men. Okay,
Okay.
it's red maca. Okay,
Mhm.
its nutrient content is better for women.
Mm.
Okay, uh,
Okay.
there's so many. There's red clover, uh, red raspberry.
Mm.
Um, there's many herbs that can help
Okay.
women overall.
Okay.
And not,
Okay.
some things, someone may be better than others, and so on and so forth. None of these are expensive. And I would say just take your time, and you want to use them over a period of time. We're talking about at least a few weeks,
Mm.
constantly on a daily basis. Some of these don't have any taste, like red raspberry, red clover, doesn't really have a taste. So one can
Okay.
really drink that in tea. Maca has a distinct taste. You can mix it in
Mm.
certain types of smoothies and so on and so forth. It goes really good with chocolate or cacao based smoothies and things. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so
Okay.
one overall just needs to know what the reason, ideally, what the reason for the hormonal imbalance is in
Mm.
the first place.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And they can contact you or just go ahead and order it. I just want to show it briefly while you're talking about it.
Mhm.
Um, I heard the maca helps with hormonal imbalances and it can help with boost your energy and it has a lot of other benefits. So here's the black maca
Mhm.
powder. Okay. And it's all organic and it's all raw.
Yep.
If you want to know. Okay.
That right there. You get
Okay.
4 ounces of it. Pretty much most of our herbs are sold in 4 ounces, so you get a lot of it. And just take your time. It's not about, just for everyone here listening, it's not about just dosing yourself with high dosages every once in a while. It's more so about consistent use more than
Mhm.
anything like that. Okay.
Mhm.
So even if you did a teaspoon a day consistently every single day, it's better than trying to do a couple tablespoons once or
Mhm.
twice a week.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to get off that. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Did you want me to bring up another slide?
Sure. If you could bring up the COPD one.
Okay. Let's see. And family, we're going to get to it later, but if you do order from the Meta Center, I'm going to put up that link. You'll see it on the ticker as well, metacenterchicago.com. At the checkout, put a Dr. Kia 2024. That's DRKIA 2024, and you will get an 11% discount. Okay. Which one is this? You said COPD? Let me
Yeah,
see if I got
COPD.
that.
That was the other image there.
Let's see if this is it. Is that it? That's not
Yes.
it. Oh, that is it. Okay. Okay.
Mhm. So another, now what we're talking about here, everyone, are again self-harming issues, okay,
Okay.
that people have. And so COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Okay, uh, pretty much deals with smoking. Okay,
Mm,
uh, when they talk about this, they're typically dealing with or talking about tobacco. But
mm,
even though that's the case, one second, yeah. So even though that's the case, um, this could also deal with marijuana as well. Okay, so pretty much any kind of smoke or irritant that's going into your mouth that ideally you should not be doing. This year we want to be, a lot of us have certain goals in our mind, okay, whether it be not only about lifestyle and things of that nature, but about our own personal health, okay? And so this is the year, I would say, practically more than the last decade, that is extremely important for everyone who's listening to get your health in order. Okay. The best time to have started was some time ago. The next best time is right now. Okay. So
okay.
it's get your those things that, especially if you have concerns, get them in order. Okay. Because you don't want to, if something were to take place that's not to any of our collective benefit, we don't want to be dependent on a system, because let's just say if there was a grid down, okay, people don't really want to think about. But it was a grid down, and because of one is obese, right? And the obesity is from them just eating, not because of anything else, right?
Mhm.
Um, and because of that, now they're on blood pressure medicine and so on and so forth, and they have to have that blood pressure medicine because they won't just stop eating. If you would have
Mm,
stopped some time ago, okay, and started to get your health in order, now you're not dependent on that if a grid down scenario were to take place. Okay, or even just some type of economic situation were to take place. Okay, now you don't need it because you have already got in the motion of watching your diet, already got in the motion of decreasing your stress and so on and so forth from exercising and meditating and so on and so forth. So when it comes to COPD, one of the issues that can happen is high blood pressure in lung arteries. Okay, they call that pulmonary hypertension. Okay, it causes high blood pressure in the arteries that supply the lungs, which can lead to complications such as right-sided heart failure. Okay, and this is just from smoking tobacco, and this is not necessarily from smoking tons of tobacco or tons of marijuana. Okay, everybody's different. Some people's lungs could take more than others. Some people's lungs could take less than others. But
okay.
overall, you're causing a challenge just because one is putting something,
Mm,
selling something into their body. Okay, weight loss and muscle weakness. Okay, advanced COPD can cause weight loss and muscle wasting, partly because of the increased energy associated with the work of breathing, and partly due to reduced food intake because of breathlessness during eating. Okay.
okay.
Acute exacerbations. Okay. People with COPD may experience episodes where their symptoms become significantly worse than their usual day to day variation. Okay. Uh, some of these can be triggered by respiratory infections or environmental pollutants, which can result in further lung damage. Okay, lung cancer. Okay, the chronic inflammation and lung tissue damage associated with, again, COPD, which is smoking of some kind, may increase the risk of developing lung cancer independent of the effects of cigarette smoke or smoking in
Mm,
general. Depression and anxiety. Okay, the challenge of living with a chronic illness or just something going on within the body. Okay, can cause one to stress and affect their mental health. Sleep problems, okay, can interfere with sleep due to symptoms like coughing and shortness of breath. Okay, sleep apnea, okay, is also common with people with COPD. Respiratory infections, okay, heart problems. All of this is just because one will not stop smoking. Okay. Now, I do
mm,
know some of these things are having an addictive nature, like those who have obesity. They may be addicted to the sugar. That's why they keep eating cakes, pies, so on and so forth, right? But then one has to address that. All right. When it
mm,
comes to specifically, we have a newer, we call it instant addiction related tea. Okay. And it was primarily it's using herbs that have been traditionally utilized to make certain activities not worthwhile for that person. Okay, so which is it primarily focuses on tobacco,
okay.
alcohol, and opiates. Okay,
Mhm.
so if one were to drink this tea, for those who do, they find that when they try to do any of those activities, they get nauseated and so on and so forth, which makes them not want to do it because it makes them not feel good sometimes to even think about it. Okay.
Mhm.
And that tea is available on the website. So now
Okay.
let's get some solutions to one who has been smoking. Other than that one, that's one solution I gave, but has been smoking and or has maybe caused even certain damage to their lungs or respiratory system because of the fact that they're smoking so much. Obviously, quit smoking, right? That's self-explanatory there, right? Uh,
Okay.
regular exercise, okay? Regular exercise helps us, of course, to breathe in more oxygen and so forth, which in turn can help long term, our lungs long term, and so forth. Next one here is oxygen therapy. Okay, that's a good one because it's like some of you may have seen those oxygen
Yeah.
chambers where you're getting these oxygen. I've been in one of those myself. Where you're getting these
Okay.
oxygen chambers. The chamber is filled with you can say high levels of oxygen. Okay, and those high levels of oxygen help to repair the body and so forth. Okay, so some form, there's other types of oxygen therapy as well, but some form of oxygen therapy, oxygen chambers and stuff like that will help
Mhm.
who has lung related challenges.
Do
Okay.
you have that? Do you offer that in the center?
Oh, no, we don't have
Okay. Okay.
that.
Okay.
Now there's another one here that deals with is breathing techniques and airway clearance. So to give you all an example of a breathing technique, one is called pursed lip breathing.
Okay.
And that's, for example, uh, so let's say I would breathe in through my inhale through my nose, okay, for about 2, 3 seconds. Okay, you're not trying to fill all the way up.
Okay.
And then you will put your lips like in the motion, like if you're gonna whistle, and then you would blow the air out double the time that you breathed in. So if you inhale for 3 seconds, you would exhale for 6 seconds, breathing it through the mouth as if you are whistling. Okay, um, that helps a lot. It helps to strengthen the lungs. This is a simple technique.
Okay.
Another technique that people do use here, again, it deals with clearing the airways. And what happens is that one would breathe in to their almost filled. Okay, so you inhale to your almost filled, and then you hold it for a moment, and then you will breathe out forcefully. Okay, until you completely empty. Okay, so you breathe out really, really strong there. And so that's another way to clear. That's a way to clear the airways as well. And again, there's many, many other techniques out there, but that's two there. So, all right. So let's see here. So now, if you could, here, please bring up the image of that podcast that took place a few days ago
Okay.
with the interview there.
Um,
Mhm.
Dr. Tony, I just want to briefly mention you were talking about smoking. I noticed that the Powers That Be did this big campaign starting around 2009, 2010 to encourage people to smoke marijuana,
Mhm.
and said that it was, it was healing, it had therapeutic modalities or properties in it. And what I noticed is that later on, after they did this campaign, it started coming out that it wasn't necessarily beneficial for people to smoke it. And then after that, they did this vaping campaign to say if you wanted to stop smoking cigarettes, then you can vape. And now they're doing commercials to say vaping is harmful.
Mhm.
It's almost like there's this warfare to program us to think these things that are not healthy for us are somehow healthy. Now,
Mhm.
I'm not saying that marijuana is not healthy, but the practice of smoking seems to be harmful. Can you just address how smoking in general, whether it be vaping or marijuana, may or may not be beneficial?
There has become a campaign for whatever reason for
Mhm.
humans to not be pure. Okay,
Mm,
being
okay.
pure has somehow become not a good thing. Okay, and so we should somehow contaminate ourselves in some way, even by bloodletting rituals, like
Mm,
getting tattoos and stuff like that. Right?
yes.
We should not be. We should not be pure. You know what I'm saying? You should somehow contaminate yourself in some way for whatever reason it is. And so what goes on is that no matter what, that deals with the anti-human agenda out there, where anytime a true solution is going to be put out to humanity, you're going to find the anti-human or the alien consciousness conglomerate. They're going to put out the opposing view of it. Okay, it's going to
Okay.
happen every single time. Okay, and it
Mhm.
is to create confusion.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
so One has to have again what they call in biblically discernment. Okay, and
Okay.
try your best to kind of discern what's real or not for you. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
or get in touch with those people that you may value uh, their opinion or the information that they have to kind of help you with that thought process. Okay,
Okay.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's people who know all type of things that, but there's people that know things that I don't know. Okay,
Mhm.
and so I could lean on their expertise when it comes to certain subjects to help me with that information so I can make my own thought forms at that point. So, in
Okay.
short, without going too complicated, we are in a time to even the eating more healthy, right? The eating more healthy is coming from what the fact that we don't want to contaminate ourselves with chemicals and so on and so forth that can harm our body, right? So
Right.
that we're moving from contamination to what state to being more pure.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so all these movements, when some say, well, you shouldn't drink alcohol like that and everything else, again, alcohol is a poison to the body. Okay. Even in certain circumstances, there may be some benefit to it in very specific circumstances, but overall it's a poison to the body. And
Okay.
so when one doesn't drink alcohol anymore, what are they doing? They're becoming more pure. Okay.
Mm.
So this is really a movement for humans to become more human or pure. It's just
Okay.
who they are and how they are, how they were literally born. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Thank you for addressing that. I think that's important because a lot of the younger people or people that were inundated with those agendas to smoke marijuana and to vape may not know that this is not healthy or not pure
Mhm.
because of the agendas. Thank you for addressing that.
Let me say here what they would say, Kia, is that um, the rebuttal to what you just said, they would say
Mhm.
it grows naturally out of the ground. Okay,
Yes.
you mean it's pure, it's natural. So it goes back to what things really are, right? So, for example, there was at one point original, we could say original marijuana, right? And those were called land race strains. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
So that's original marijuana. Most of those don't even look like the marijuana today. So a person will literally walk past that on the street and not even know that's what that was. Okay. And
Mm.
then over time they were combined through genetics, okay, hybridized, okay.
Mm.
And that's where we get a lot of the strains that's today, which are overall way too strong because the originals were not anywhere as strong as the weed today. Okay.
Okay.
So most people, if they got the weed today who smoke the loud, they call it the loud and stuff like that, the dispensary weed, they wouldn't even want to smoke the original strains because it's not strong enough.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
the marijuana today is way too strong for our brain and body to even consume in the first place. Okay,
Mhm.
but it does have pesticides, herbicides, insecticides on it as well. There was a person. There's many interviews you can find on YouTube of people who used to work in the industry, but a lot of them even got fired because so much of the marijuana. Of course, we talking about thousands of pounds of marijuana, right? They'll take a sample amount from all this weight, and they would examine it to make sure it doesn't have any mold or any type of contaminants on it, extra fertilizers and stuff like that. And they would
Yes.
find that most of the time, the majority of the time, it was somehow contaminated in some way.
Mm.
And they
Okay.
kept discarding, millions of dollars worth of marijuana, stuff like that. And so many of them got fired because of that fact. Okay. And so a lot of
Okay.
stuff coming. None of this stuff is meant for our benefit. Let's just put it like that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's spiritual warfare. I can see, like you said, by these non-human entities to try to turn us into something that's not natural. It's but it's amazing how this has been allowed to happen. But I'm so grateful that God has given, you to us to teach us about, these things. All right, now shifting the conversation, you wanted me to bring up this particular promo, real people having real conversations. And the young lady says, my son needed help. It was a testimonial that was very powerful. What did you want to say about that, Brother Tony,
Okay,
Dr.
so
Tony?
this obviously deals with mental health, right? And
Okay.
so this was an extremely powerful
Hmm.
testimony that she gave, and what she was doing is just giving her experiences. And she has a son. She went to all types of mental health professionals. Overall, other than being locked up or wanting to be drugged, they pretty much
Hmm.
said we can't help your son at all. Okay, she's a mother. She had the means to um, pay for all different types of services and things, right? And
Hmm.
the majority
Hmm.
of people would not help. okay, or give very limited help, which was not what the son actually needed.
Mm,
Um, and this is a common theme. Oh, she's not the first person to come by the center. Uh,
mm,
she's not the first person who became a client, and so on and so forth. Her son did, nevertheless, but it's a common theme where people, no matter even the nationality, okay, their race, that they say that it doesn't, they just want to be drugged. Okay. They just want them drugged and locked away. And so in her conversation, she got into where, what kind of help? She was crying out for help. And
mhm.
for the most part, they said, well, if he commits a crime, we can then give him help. And that help was in the form of just locking him up, which of course will cause other types of trauma and so on and
Yeah,
so forth that no one wants. All right. And
right.
so, but that was the solution to the help that she was trying to need. There were people who, she went to certain institutions who do accept people who have certain types of challenges, and those institutions turn her away
Mm,
because he was a male. Okay.
mm.
Okay.
Wow,
Okay.
wow.
Okay. This institution does deal with what these institutions did deal with what the challenge was, turn it away because it was a male, or they only allowed very minimum amount of males in. They pretty much only cater to women. Okay. And that's what a lot of people don't know that goes on. That most of the help that is around is for women, it's not for men. Okay, so men for the most part are just left out there to fend for themselves, and then especially the darker the color of the man, the
Mhm,
worse off. Okay, that man is. Okay,
mhm. Yes.
so she went through all of that, and she was referred to us by a
Mm,
member of the Meta Center, and with that, even within 3 months of him being a client,
mm.
the amount of progress that he has made is equivalent to maybe about 2, 3 years the traditional way.
Wow.
Okay. And so, it's
Do
many of you
not
all,
let them raise your
Sorry.
rate.
oh, so many of you all should check that video out. But a lot of people are dealing with certain challenges. We're here. Some people just need a conversation. Some people just need somebody to talk to. Okay.
Mhm,
And that in itself will relieve the tension, the stress that's inwardly. Some people need more than that. Okay, we are here. We have a multitude of alternative wellness modalities that we do. We're bringing in more equipment. Like I'm converting the office that even I'm in right now,
mhm,
convert it to even have more, even other types of wellness, alternative wellness equipment in here, stuff like that, that can help all of us. Okay, I like to relax too. Okay, I'm overall pretty stress free, but I like to relax as well. It's extremely important. It should be part of our, whether it be daily, weekly, or monthly regimen. Okay. And so I'm going to tell everybody who's listening here that, especially this year and beyond, especially with all of us collectively as humans have been through, I would really suggest that you you make the time for your overall mental health.
Yes, and I meant to actually see if I could go to that video and take a clip of it just to hear a part of her testimony. Do you
Mhm.
know which part of that testimony? Is there any part that you want us to show? Here it is on your channel. It says explosive. My son needed help now. Tony Vortex with Talitha. Please, family, if you get a chance, go and watch that testimony. It was so powerful about how she went to center after center to get help for her son because he was a male, because he was classified as Black. They didn't help him, even though she had the money to get the help, and they would lock him up, unbeknownst to him that was what was going to happen. And then when she got to Tony, over the course of a few sessions, he's turned around a lot. But Tony, is there any part of that that you would like me to clip, or just recommend the family go ahead and watch the whole video?
Uh, you could just the first few seconds, even just how
Okay.
it starts off with her saying what she said before it got into it.
Okay. 1 minute. I'll make sure it's not. Okay. Hold on. All right. Can you see it on your end? I'm on the back office.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Here we go, family. So this is at the Meta Center website on YouTube. Here we go.
I know
This
that.
is my son's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And it's just not no help.
Mhm.
You know? I gotta do something.
Okay, right there.
Right there. Okay.
So even that right there alone, that kind of gives a really good just preface to a prelude to what they're going to get, because there's so many heavy portions in this that, of
Mhm.
course, if I knew, I would have kind of went through it ahead of time and can
Yeah.
kind of something, for the audience here. But
Yes.
most people really did enjoy and resonated with the
Mhm.
message that was given there.
Absolutely. Now, what kind of things, if I can pause right here, were you able to offer him? So say somebody comes to you and they're like, I'm experiencing a lot of mental health issues like what he experienced. He was experiencing depression. Was he having some ideations or hearing voices as well? Or do you not want to go into
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I can't really go into that, but
Okay. Yeah.
I would just say this, that uh, we have a lot of alternative, modalities that we do. uh,
Okay.
in a do range. Everyone is different. Everyone has different things going on. There have been some people that, like, this is not, again, medical care, right? You need medical care, you go to your local medical physicians for that. This is an
Absolutely.
alternative wellness. And
Okay.
so, but with that, there have been some people whose challenges are just beyond what we offer at this time, right? So I had to just refer them to where I think they may be able to get their help from the traditional way.
Okay.
But for those who have come in, the ranges are, it's a pretty big range. Okay, some people who just may be really just purely just stressed out. Okay,
Mhm.
others who uh, do deal with some form of mood disorders, multiple personality disorders, uh,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. So, and we have our unique ways of addressing that. Okay,
Okay.
and helping them to be able to help themselves and maintain and, be more of them. Okay,
Okay.
it's a very
Mhm.
unique methodology that we do, that we created here. And
Okay.
so eventually I'm going to teach it and or publish what we do, because it is so beneficial. But I do need more data for that to come in first, so to try it on different people before that happens. Okay,
Okay.
but
Okay.
especially most people, I would say, more than anything else, are just dealing with high levels of stress. And understand, everyone, high levels of stress can create a break later. Okay, if
Mm.
one is susceptible, either say in their family line to, let's say, for example, schizophrenia or something like that, right? If it runs in your family, schizophrenia, for example, is known to be brought on by high levels of stress.
Wow. Okay.
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 If one does not have, let's say, for example, those high levels of stress earlier in age, right? Those are the
Mhm.
ones, those are the people that we typically see earlier in age. But typically it just starts to show up, let's say, at above 45, 50. Those people just tend to start showing these very eccentric, typically attributed to schizophrenic type of activities and things they're
Wow.
doing. Okay. So with the stress that's taking place, I'm seeing it all over the place. I'm seeing, of course, high levels of mood disorders. Of course, people being bipolar, people being extremely argumentative for no reason at all. Um, Almost that people are trying to hold on, but they're kind of giving up. Right? You
Yeah.
owe it to yourself to go through the different suggestions that we gave to relax and kind of rejuvenate yourself, or make an appointment here at the center and
Mhm.
just have a conversation. You can sit on the couch. Everybody loves to come sit on the couch. It's extremely comfortable. Okay. And sit on the couch, and we in the center, depending upon what is going on, the center is all about you. Okay. It's not about anyone else. It's we put the messages on the door. We're not gonna be disturbed. And that time is dedicated to you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So
And everything that's said is held in confidence, right? And
yes.
just as I just want to make a disclaimer. Um, do people need to, when they come in, do they sign some type of, I don't know, agreement or anything, or contract or anything between
Yes.
you? Okay.
Yes, that
Wow.
happens even before, when we make the appointment online. It's certain things that they have to agree to as well, and so
Okay.
everything's kept in confidence, not only as a wellness center, but also as a minister.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
everything's out of
Okay.
confidence from that angle as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I call you Dr. Tony, as so many people in our audience. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. So anything else you wanted me to bring? Oh, well, you mentioned something that I want to pause for a minute. When you were talking about unnatural practices like smoking,
Mhm,
you talked about blood-letting rituals
mhm,
like tattoos. I'm
mhm.
so glad you said that, because I never really fully understood or overstood why a lot of religious leaders do not like, and men do not, men particularly don't like for women to get tattoos, but I never heard of a bloodletting ritual. Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay, so there are practices. Okay, so first, see, sometimes people get triggered because
Okay.
certain practices may be in some type of religious text. Okay,
Okay.
and or some type of activity may be mentioned there, and because they have an issue with that religious text, which may be valid or not,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
uh, they show disdain toward it, and they go
Mhm.
about that activity anyway. Okay, for what,
Okay.
even if it's out of rebellion. Okay,
Yeah.
so on and so
Mhm.
forth. So for let me give you an example. I'm
Okay.
going to change it to psychological challenges, right?
Okay.
And in one area, right, we talk about in the psychology field, they may say that someone's displaying certain types of activity, certain types of delusions, and so on and so forth. They may say, okay, that person is schizophrenic or showing schizophrenic tendencies. Okay.
Okay.
In a religious text, they may say that that's due to sin. Okay, and they may say that sin of a person sins in this way can lead to certain just types of, they're necessarily not saying mood, but there's certain types of uh, deterioration of their spirit, right?
Okay.
And so
Okay.
they call it sin.
Mhm.
If you go to the medicine man or the medicine woman, right,
Yeah.
the priests or priestesses who practices the ancient ways, they may say that person's infected with a certain spirit, and that spirit name is this name or that name, and so forth.
Yeah.
And anybody who's infected with this spirit, okay, they act like this or they act like that. Okay. And so it's really all talking about the same exact thing. All
Okay.
right. So, and with that, uh, the so in short, I would not get caught up on the wordplay itself.
Okay.
So, blood. Okay. So,
Yeah.
anything that again goes from making the body pure, so that's the standpoint that we're talking about here, right? And
Okay.
so,
Yes.
so you were born, let's say you were born from a divine template, okay,
Mhm.
and that template uh is worthy and it is a certain way, right? And
Okay.
so in us putting designs and such on our skin, now, sometimes we put things that are very significant to us and everything else. That's a kind of another story in that regard. But overall,
Oh,
putting
wow.
designs and things and stuff on our skin, coating our body in it is in many cases saying that it was not perfect as it
Mhm.
was already.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I'm going to beautify it
Mm.
in my
Mm.
in my image
Wow. Wow.
versus the image that it was again born in or based on, which is a divine template. And that's really the agenda of these you could say anti-humans or the alien conglomerate, is really
Mhm.
to take the authority away
Mhm.
from the divine
Mhm.
and make
Mhm.
it about your current existence or just about the authority of man over the divine versus the
Mhm.
divine over man. Okay.
Okay.
And so yeah, so in of course we talk about contamination as well of the vessel itself, uh,
Mm.
because that ink is, even though it's not going as deep to, let's say, drip into you, let's say your actual circulatory system, but still you are contaminating your skin itself. And it just goes on and on and on and on. But
Wow.
ideally, anyway, people do things in their youth and so forth
Yeah.
that make them regret. We're not talking about that, all right? And I'm not beating anyone up because of that.
Right.
But ideally, you want to be as pure as possible.
Okay.
Okay. That purity is what's going to eventually save many of us in time.
Yes. And one of the things that when I was looking at the definition and hearing your explanation, it reminded me of people who have mental health illnesses, or they're stressed, or they have anxiety. A lot of people who are schizophrenic, they will cut themselves
Hmm.
to release blood. If they're releasing blood, but they believe that it releases some type of tension,
Tension, evil,
evil.
uh,
Yeah.
some type of, if they let it out because it's in them, and if they
Yeah.
let it out, they can finally be free of it, whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Okay.
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 Yeah,
Mm.
it goes deep. And a lot of people, we become so third dimensional. Okay. When I say third dimensional, I mean saying focus on uh activity that is activity, let's say, of man, okay, which is not of the divine, okay. It doesn't mean we can't have technology or anything like that, but it takes us so far away from the natural way of doing anything.
Mhm.
Okay, we just consumed with the third dimensional working, looking at life through these devices that we have, these phones and so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
Um, so everything becomes more so artificial. Okay, now we have artificial food, we have artificial water. Okay, water is all chemically tainted. We have artificial air. The air is chemically tainted by the geoengineering programs. Okay, but also we have artificial consciousness, consciousness. So we have that artificially as well, where people have almost like in a way they've been like, we know there's a term where you have your work voice. Okay, or
Mm.
you have your work kind of personality, right? When you go to work, go to your corporate job or whatever it may be, you take on this other character for some reason. And so
Oh,
everybody,
yeah.
right. Everybody's taking on this different character that once they leave out the door, they're actually not that character at all. So really, it's saying that you can't be yourself or you can't be human.
Mhm.
Okay, so everybody has taken on this for so long, this other personality, this other way of being for so long, that
Yeah.
now that has bled into everyday life. And so now everyone you meet, no one's being human anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
This is all so anyhow, this goes deep and we go on forever
Yeah.
with all of this, but um this is the year of the human 2024, and this is the more of the year for the one to get back in touch with who they are and how they are, because we
Yeah.
all see, even if one was under a delusion at first, okay, or had a facade over reality thinking a certain way. Now we all see, based on what has been taking place, we all see it's not really what I thought it was. Also, it's not as glamorous as these entities have claimed that it is.
Yeah.
It's not that. So maybe I need to pull back and become stronger in who I am and how I am and so on and so forth. And maybe I will find, that's where I will find my connection again to what I was meant to be.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. You talked about earlier sugar, ridding ourselves of sugar. How do you feel about salt?
Salt the same way. Most of
Yeah.
the salt, there's all different types of salt, and I even purchase almost every salt on the planet that's publicly available, right? So I have a whole cabinet full of about 15 to 20
Mhm.
different types of main salts, right? We do
Okay.
we sell Himalayan salt ourselves, and that's
Mhm.
the best one from the source that we source it from that seems
Mhm.
to be legitimate. But of
Okay.
course, there's Celtic salt, there's black salt, there's salt that's actually
Mm.
black in color, and so on and so forth. And salt, just like there's a grand conspiracy going on here when it comes to certain food groups. So, for
Okay.
example, olive oil. When you go to the store, you look at olive oil, you see tons of olive oils there in the aisle. Majority of those are fake. If you have not ever tasted real olive oil, you taste
Mm.
any of those, 100% is not real at all. Okay, majority of them, I
Okay.
would say probably if it's 20 brands, 30 brands there, let's say, I would say probably 25 of them are fake or have additives or
Oh
changes
my
that
God.
is not real. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
honey is another one. Okay.
What is
Honey.
honey? Okay.
Most honeys are fake. Okay.
Okay.
Most honeys are not real at all. They are really just sugar. Okay. Sugar
Mm.
added to maybe a little bit of honey and other kinds of whatever that may be. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and so another one, of course, again, going back is to the salt.
Okay.
Salt is very interesting in itself. And again, that's a conspiracy hole, rabbit hole to itself. Okay.
Mhm.
That our body supposedly needs it. Okay.
Okay.
But it seems that it doesn't need many of the types that are out there, and or the types that are out there, at least the ones we get here in America, are somehow changed in a way to cause us more problems than not. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But salt, real salt in itself, is actually not as dangerous to the body as people actually think.
Mm. Really?
Yes, it's not as dangerous to the body as people think. Okay,
Okay.
but you have to have real salt and its other contributing factors to go into that. Uh,
Okay.
and was the salt changed somehow? Was it boiled? Was it? It did there's many activities that happen with the processing that can
Okay.
change the natural way it is. So instead of it giving to you, it takes away from you.
Mm.
Like when I was driving across country, for example, on one of our adventures that we do, we drove. Of course, we drove from east to west. So we drove them from Chicago all the way to the West Coast. And
Okay.
um, one of the things that we went past was the Utah salt flats. Okay.
Mm,
And
okay.
so literally a dry lake bed, it's all the salt there. Actually took some back as well. And it's real salt. Okay. Now, of course, you could purify it yourself, and then you actually have real salt. So for those people who live near Utah, Nevada, and so on and so forth, there's the
Yes.
Utah salt flats. You could people do all type of weddings out there and everything else, but you could walk all the way out there, find a clear spot, dig some up yourself. You can There's simple ways to purify it, and then you can have actually some real salt as well that way.
Okay. So that was salt, and you had sent me this honey. Oh, I mean, I went through this in less than a week, and probably because I love sugar, and so I tried to try to make up for it by taking this lavender honey. Oh my God, Tony, it was sweet, and then the lavender gave me this like calming type
Mhm.
of experience. So that's not the only honey that you have, and it's organic, it's raw. Do you want to talk a little bit about that honey since you mentioned it here? I see it here on your website.
Sure. So we have, as you see there, about 4 or 5 different types, five
Okay.
different types of honey. Okay. So
Okay.
there's turmeric honey, which is all of these are raw, unfiltered honey. Okay. And
Okay.
just with whatever herb or element that's been added to it. So turmeric honey is literally uh, raw turmeric, dry and
Okay.
also dried turmeric added to the honey. Okay, and so it has inflammation benefits. Okay,
Okay.
there's
Okay.
lucidity. Now, lucidity is something out of this world. People buy that from all across the world, and
Okay.
lucidity is a combination of many herbs in such a way where it almost gives a psychedelic like experience. Okay, when
Wow.
one takes it, so it's really good for meditation and so on and so forth. There's nothing in it that's illegal. Okay, so nothing in it that's illegal at all.
Okay.
It's regular herbs. Okay, but this is made a certain way.
Okay.
Goji honey is goji berries that have been freshly grounded and then
Mm,
infused with honey. Okay, so
okay.
that's good for energy. Okay,
Mm.
and it's good for the reproductive system.
Oh, okay.
There's lavender honey. Lavender honey is good for relaxation, sleep, and it's the real lavender flowers. Okay, that have been infused with honey to provide that.
Okay.
Noni honey, which we just brought back, it was out for about 8 9 months, and noni honey is an excellent for antioxidant support. Okay, so
Okay.
it's the noni fruit that's been dried, infused with honey, and it provides excellent support for that. So most of these you can mix with just hot water. Okay, so you make tea water like you normally make tea, and you take about a teaspoon to tablespoon worth of your favorite honey of choice, and
Okay.
you put it in there, stir it up, and you can just drink it that way. Some people take it directly into the mouth, a teaspoon, tablespoon directly in their mouth. One
Mm.
could do that as well. Um, Lavender is good for before sleep, especially those who we have got many reports of those who suffer from insomnia, for example. They do the lavender, excellent. Okay,
Okay.
those who going back up a little bit on your screen there to the lucidity, for example, that one people from all over the world purchase that just because of the deep states of mind that it puts a lot of people in. Uh,
Okay.
Goji one there, a lot of people use that even instead of even coffee in the morning due to
Mhm.
how energetic it makes them feel.
Okay.
So, and so, we are community supported. So when I hear like a lot of people calling about a certain challenge or it may be,
Yeah.
that's when that's when we bring in a new product, whether it be a new herb that we may not have, or a new product or service that we see a lot of people are calling in about. So,
Mm.
mhm.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Um, Before we get into the questions, I wanted to know if you have anything else you wanted to talk about today or bring to our attention as it relates to mental health or just spiritual warfare or any of the challenges that a lot of us are experiencing during this new era.
I would just say that many of us are going to find that our traditional ways, or maybe our family or our tribe, we can call it whatever it may be, were not as backwards as we
Mhm.
thought they were. Okay. And we're going to see more and more that this new imagery, the way this new way that keeps being presented in front of us to be okay.
Mm.
Many are going to find And that's what's happening. That's what's actually making this whole parasitic conglomerate is making them extremely worried, because instead of humans actually bowing the knee and
Yeah.
just giving into the perversions of the thoughts of these entities,
Hmm.
many humans are starting to stand up and say, "No, what?" and getting deeper into whatever faith that they have. Okay, getting deeper into more traditional values. Okay, and so on and so forth, because they see it's not because they may not have wanted to go into those corrupted mind states. It is that they see it and they're feeling it that is not benefiting them. Okay, it's causing them pain. It's like, I'm not rich. I mean, it'd be one thing if I was rich and able to do it, but then they're not becoming economically sovereign. They're not becoming spiritually or mentally sovereign. Okay, they're starting to have mental challenges. Their families are breaking apart, and
Yeah.
so people are starting to see that it's not giving them any benefits. Okay, people are kind of, people are not stupid, and if they were getting benefits in a way, then more would probably come
Mm.
over. They see that, for example, inflation is rising like crazy, right?
Right.
Every single time a person comes over, let's say the border for whatever reason, okay,
Mhm.
it taxes the system, which means all of us pay more. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um, and people are like, no, I'm not trying to pay more for whatever reason for people who are coming over when I have my own bills. I have my own life that I'm trying to bring to a state where I can be comfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and so just all of these challenges like this are turning people away from whatever these entities are selling. Okay.
Yes.
Then people just don't want it
Mm.
anymore. Okay. And so it's extremely, this will go back to the whole talk we had today, is why it's extremely important for us to focus on our health and wellness and so on and so forth, so that we can be as strong as possible, just in case any more games want to be played by
Yeah.
those who really hate humans, but is really hating. What they're really doing is that they hate the creator through its creation.
Mm. Oh, okay. They hate the creator through his creation. So
Hmm.
the battle is actually like they hate God. I mean, or whatever the creator is, not so
Yes.
much just us, but the creator.
Yes, we are reflections of that. Okay. And so they, by any means necessary,
Mm.
that's really what the goal is. So this goes back to the medical industry, for example.
Okay.
So many of us, we've talked on many times down the show about the different side effects of a lot of these chemicals and things that we're taking, whether in pill form or an injectable form or whatever it may be.
Yes.
And these happen, of course, when many are children, when many are babies, infants just born, right? And then later in life, all these complications happen. And you even see on many of their, when they talk about many of these kind of subjects of degenerative diseases and stuff like that, they're coming from a point where this is, oh, well, this is a shame. The body is just not, it's just not meant to operate this long or operate this way. It's just such a shame, but we may be able to help you, almost saying in a way that your God failed you. Okay, this divine body that you have, because we're based off of template. Okay, that template is divine. Okay, and so this divine body that you're based on, it's just not it. Your God is just not as powerful as you thought it was. It did not create you the way you should have been. But I can help you. Okay, watch it. Even if it does help. Okay, even if you take something that does help, it's saying that, see, give reverence to man science. Okay. And when I say man, I'm talking about collectively, not man as a gender, but the collective as a species. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And um, so you see, we helped you. We had to help you. Okay. And so it's a very side-handed, very subtle but subversive, because even biblically, it's pretty much stories of these entities subverting the will or the nature of things. Okay.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and that's pretty much what we're talking about, right? And of course, in that example I just gave, um we can go back to the original injections when one got right when he came out the womb and say, no, those all have side effects, and what I'm suffering from is in this list of hundreds of side effects that these things you, but no, it's not that. It's just that your God failed you. Okay.
Oh,
and,
yes.
and we have to help you now. Okay. And so the battle, even though people may not like to hear the term God or anything like that, the sooner or later all are going to see, okay, that that is what the battle is. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a
Mhm.
spiritual battle, and the spiritual battle is between uh life and those who want to end life, between those who have the divine spark, those who don't have the divine spark, those
Yeah.
who want to be fully live the human experience versus those who want to uh, make people live a very limited human experience, and so on and
Yes.
so forth. Okay, it all comes back to the same argument through the same people. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Um, Thank you so much for that. Thank you. You know, it's interesting. It doesn't matter which religious orientation you have, or you know whether you're spiritual versus religious. It just seems like a lot of principles that are in every religion, they all seem to be similar, and just a different way to explain things. You know, and that's why I like the way you break down things metaphysically. You'll break down religious texts. You'll even break down what's going on in the world. I noticed on your channel you talk about geopolitics and you give a metaphysical explanation of that. You want to explain just a little bit about that, because I
Sure,
want people to look at your channel, you know, through many different lenses.
sure, sure. Okay, so based on there's a lot of confusion around us, okay, and because we are again we are a community organization, right, and so the community sometimes wonders about certain news events and stuff like that. So it became,
Mhm.
because certain questions will come up from time to time, we have a news series where I take the, even if we say the news series, even if we say the news is fake, is controlled, yeah, it may be all of that, but still, this is what people are being bombarded with, and this is what the collective believes. Okay, so
Absolutely.
I take whatever popular news story is at that time that I'm looking at the news,
Mhm.
and I say it the way that the news says it overall, but then I give a metaphysical breakdown of it, and what it means collectively with that. So we get into, of course, in that metaphysical breakdown, maybe bringing up ancient history, bringing up some uh just some ancient or event or circumstance or people, and how it relates to what that news event is, and so on and so forth. So people have found it insightful. People have told me all the time that they really, really like it, because sometimes we wonder if people like some of the content we put out.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we can continue to keep doing that at this
Mm.
time.
I love it. I love the way you break down the physical aspects, because it kind of helps you to see the world through a different lens. So, having said that, I want to bring up your YouTube channel so that people can follow you on YouTube, listen to your metaphysical breakdowns. Sometimes you'll bring people on and interview them, like you did the woman who wanted help for her son. I
Mhm.
just think it's very powerful. You'll talk about some of the excursions that you and the community has gone through. So here it is, the Meta Center Chicago on YouTube. This is Dr. Delbert Blair, master metaphysician, under whom or with whom Dr. Tony Vortex studied for many decades. Actually, maybe 2 decades has it been, Tony?
Well, at this point, I knew I was up under him directly, practically every day for about 9 or so years.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so, but I was watching his material probably about 8, 9 years before that, before I actually met him physically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So here's his channel. He breaks down. He does a transmission about Alaska National Guard, how they're backing up Texas. And I love this because I talk about geopolitics. You go deeper, and you translate the metaphysical aspects. You interpret it from a metaphysical lens. He talked about the year of 2024 and how this is a new year, or the year of Janus. That was very powerful. And I just want you all to look at this. He talked about protecting the border and aliens or supreme beings. You guys, this channel is filled with information, and Tony does speak on it pretty often now. I don't know if you've always been very active on YouTube, but I've been noticing that you're there almost every week.
Mhm.
Sometimes several days a week. So follow the Meta Center Chicago on YouTube. This is what it looks like. I'm going to drop this link in the chat, and I'll also put it in the description section as well of the video on YouTube and Rumble. So Tony, do you have time for a few questions?
Sure. Mhm.
Okay, let me see. Somebody had a question that I really wanted to. Oh, here it is. Question: what is a good herb to take to help you fall asleep?
Lavender is one. We have a one called Dreamscape. We have
Mm.
which is a formulation. It's a tea. that helps even with vivid dreaming. We
Mm,
have a salve called Lavender Dream Salve. And that salve you can rub on your lymph nodes, so typically the bottom of your feet before bed. It helps
mm,
to, once you get to sleep, it helps to stay asleep. Lavender honey, which we went over here already, helps one to get to sleep in the first place. Okay, again, or one could take that just to relax. It's excellent with
mhm,
that. So we have over about 200 or so herbs on the website. Okay, I'm looking at our big herbal area here in the store now, but we have over 200 herbs or so in the website that can help with all of that. We would have, for example, one of our newest ones is ceremonial grade cocaya. Okay, it's
mm.
from a tribe of women in Guatemala, and,
Wow.
and it's excellent. Okay,
Okay.
and so we have a lot for many different reasons as well. So
You have a dream stone? Is
yeah,
that right?
the dream stone helps to induce vivid prophetic dreams.
Wow.
Okay, you put it underneath your pillow, and it helps to induce those prophetic dreams.
And you have, what's this? The Traveler's Dream Collection. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a kind of a gift thing there. It's kind of, it has the dream stone, it has the dreamscape, which next to that it has the lavender honey. It has quite a few different things inside that box.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And you gave me the salve to put on my feet and on my on my lymph nodes. That was very powerful because, like you said, it relaxes you and helps you to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Somebody said you're saving lives, Dr. Vortex.
Trying to, you know.
Somebody said thank you. They love these high level explanations. You're welcome. Let's see. Weight loss. What herb can help with weight loss?
So there are many herbs that can help one with the process. Okay, there were some years ago that they banned from the market that actually did help in that way. But I
Mm-hmm.
would say that you really just want to increase the excretion factor. Okay, the excretion factor
Okay.
is the sweating, the excreting, urinating, defecating factor. Okay, one powerful one is called alkaline vibrations. It's a combination of herbs on the website. If you could pull that one up, Kia, it's called alkaline vibrations. And so alkaline vibrations is extremely powerful, and that's that you drink maybe 1 to 3 times daily. Okay, and so it helps with overall the blood and so forth, along with what you're doing already, which could help in, or aid in weight loss. But overall,
Okay.
when it comes to weight loss, one needs to, it deals with your calories, right? So if you're able to burn more calories than what you consume on a daily basis or what your body needs, then you will lose weight. Okay. If you eat more calories, you're going to gain weight. Okay. So it's really simple. We don't have to make it difficult at all. Let's say, for example, to keep things simple, let's say your body needs 1,000 calories a day to keep your weight the way it is and also keep your energy level the way it is, right? If
Okay.
if you eat less than that 1,000 calories, you're going to start to lose weight. If you
Okay.
eat more than that 1,000 calories, you're going to start to gain weight.
Hmm.
Okay. So one needs to really look at what they eat, and we're here. We can help with that process. Okay. But look at what you eat. Look at when you eat it as well, because eating right before bed is a good way to gain weight.
Okay.
Okay. And also a good way not to have deep dreams as well, because your body is still processing. Many
Okay.
of us, many of us, especially those who may have no soul, okay,
Hmm.
look at the body as them.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so many people just in general look at the body as them, and look at the fact that, or those who don't have a soul look at the body as them because that's all they are. Okay, this overall is a biotechnology.
Okay.
Okay, and it's a very advanced biotechnology that has the capability of embedding, let's say, a soul within it, all right, that comes from somewhere else, okay, and that animates the body. Okay, and so if we look at it as a biotechnology, okay, as a more so like a machine, okay, then we begin to see like, okay, if this is really a machine or a biotechnology, that means that it needs certain things to operate in an ideal way, okay,
Okay.
versus, and there are things that can destroy it, okay. If
Okay.
we look at things more like that when it comes to our body, then it becomes very easy to understand what we should do or should not do.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Who's this? Ismail Aziz says we are four-part beings: body, mind, spirit, and self. Move with the flow of life. Dr. Tony Vortex, right diet is key and control the breath. And you know you're a spiritual being first, externalizing divine scripture. Thank you so much, brother. Um, Brother Anthony says, thank you. It's good to see you. I'm looking to see if I have any more questions here. Now I'm going to go to my Rumble channel because I'm on my YouTube channel now. Let's see. I don't see any. What's your take on beyond the, what is that? I can't read it. Beyond the ice wall of Antarctica, extra life and land.
Well, I would just say that this place is much larger than what we are publicly allowed to see. What
Mm,
we're on here, I call it's something we've been calling for many years, over a decade now, and we call these the prison colonies.
yes.
Okay, this is the reason why you can only travel to certain places and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Okay, if you try to go outside of those places, the military will stop you. Okay,
Okay.
because you're not allowed to go to the outer lands. Okay,
Okay.
but we are kind of contained here. Okay, and that's all the known. When you look at the map, all the known continents. Okay, we're all contained here. We're not allowed to go beyond here. Okay, but
Mhm.
that containment is due to because it's a grand experiment taking place actually here. Okay, for whatever reason. Okay, whether we are where either another force even making sure that we don't leave from here. Let's just say because we are contaminated.
Mhm.
Okay, there's multiple theories out there the reason why, but what we do know for sure is that we're not allowed to leave these continents. If you go look at older maps, which the Meta Center has many older maps,
Oh,
there's many continents, even islands and things on these maps that are no longer on present maps today.
wow. Wow. Speaking of that, Brother Tony, just something, I don't know, it just kind of made me think about how I was reading books not long ago. I think you were saying we may be under an experimentation. Some people say we're under a dome. One day the thought occurred to me is that we don't have to die. Because I keep hearing people say everybody has to go this way. We all have to die. We all have to perish. We're all going to leave this planet. But I started actually reading books in my research, and I noticed that there were people mainly in Asia and other parts of the earth that lived for hundreds of years, allegedly.
Mhm.
And I think most of them were breatharians, or they ate very little food. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that we can actually extend our life?
Our life was already extended. It's been brought down. Okay, due to whether it be calamities, due to ancient wars, due to being infected with injectables and so on and so forth, our lifespan is decreasing, not increasing. So
Okay.
it's been brought down from hundreds or more years
Mm,
to the 50 to 80 that most people live now.
mm,
Okay, so our bodies, even many biologists have said, even publicly, that it seems that our bodies are meant to live hundreds of years longer than what they are. They're deteriorating too fast, and that's by design. Because we are, I just spoke on about a week ago, is that we are in our larvae stage. Even though some of us may be considered
mm.
brilliant or whatever it may be, we're still children
Okay. Yeah.
in the human sense. So, for example, if we were all supposed to live to 1,000 years of age, and I'm my age, you are your age, that's
Yeah.
nowhere near 1,000. We're
Right.
not even near 100 per se, right? So,
Right.
because in the grand scheme, if we were to live to 1,000 years of age, we are like infants in consciousness. Even
Mm,
if our consciousness is to a level where people congratulate us, give us accolades because of it, that just shows where if you were allowed to live to 150, 250, 350, where your level of consciousness would actually be, then you're starting to actually be a teenager at that point in consciousness. Okay,
okay.
so many of us are leaving here prematurely. When
Wow.
it comes to breatharian and stuff like that, in this day and age, people are not, these are concepts that may came from the reign of Christ, which
Mhm.
was the 1,000-year reign of Christ, which happened, seen by all evidence that happened before the time we're in now. We're in a different time now. Okay. And during that time, that's when things were, they weren't inverted. We're more in the inverted time now versus the stand up time now. And
Okay.
so, and during that time, some of these concepts come from that time where
Mm.
the energy was so pure, the 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 way people even went about life, the way energy, the way even buildings and things were energized was more of a pure technology that did not affect, like, for example, our phones, for example, right? Our
Yeah.
phones have, when you purchase a phone, it comes with a little sheet of paper. That little sheet of paper is a warning, and it tells you, most people don't look at it. It actually tells you that, for example, your device is emitting, okay, certain kinds of EMF, right? Which in
Yeah.
turn, we're not even really ideally even supposed to hold our phones like this because it's actually so dangerous. Okay.
Wow.
Our phones ideally should always be like maybe about a foot away from us at all times. Not-
Okay.
Okay. So in the previous age, they didn't have technology like that.
Right.
Okay, the technology, first of all, they wouldn't even had stuff like this at all anyway. Okay. But they would have had, the focus was more on the strength of the human themselves per se, right? In
Mhm,
their
mhm.
higher state, and the technology and creations that were around helped to benefit that higher state. Okay, versus what we have now seems to be the benefit of something else. It just so happen we can use it.
Mm. So we were supposed to, we actually, our life has been extended, but because of technology and different things, our life has been, um, I guess, cut short. Some people say that there will be new technologies that's going to be released in this new age, like the med beds and other advanced technologies that will extend our life, number one, or allow us to go through these technologies and do experience something that's called age reversal. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
In whatever time that we're in,
Yes,
there's
sir.
going to be people, everything is not all bad. Okay.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
going to be people that's going to be there to promote a more holistic life, or life that brings us more into balance. Okay.
Okay.
There's going to be places even on the earth itself that open up to help shelter people from calamities.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So this always happens.
Mm,
Okay.
you know
And
that.
so, and that's the kind of, those are kind of things that overall they want to try to hide from the public, so the public doesn't know or talk about, or they ignore that divine calling within them that's telling them that these things are happening. This is why, for example, if some type of calamity is going to happen, animals will notice sometime an hour, 5 hours, 10 hours ahead of time, and they start leaving the area. Okay. Why
Yeah.
is it supposedly us who are supposedly the combination of all things, because really we are, animals or everything else are like an external version of attributes of us. Okay, so we are like the combination of all things. We're supposedly so advanced, and yet the calamity has to happen right in front of our face and
Yeah.
touch us before we say, oh, something's going on. Okay,
Mhm.
so that is the disconnect that's happening, for, again, for whatever reason. Okay,
Okay.
multiple reasons for it. So it is up to us to, for those who strive to be in tune, no matter what one is going through, opportunities open up.
Yes.
Right? In whatever way, it may not come the way we want them to come. Sometimes we want things to come so polished and shiny and everything else, but maybe it's meant for you to make it polished and shiny.
Right.
So maybe it has come to you to, in that more degraded way, for you to learn something that you will learn, and you can only learn it through that process of making it shine again. Okay,
Mm.
and those things will always be okay. So if you're doing what you're supposed to do, if you say enough is enough, you become pure in who you are as you move forward. Opportunities, whatever those may be, are going to be shown to you. Yes, it may not be shown to your neighbor. It's not
Mm.
for your neighbor. This is your opportunity, not your neighbors.
Mm.
Okay, and that's for you to look at and to grow within, to be a benefit to yourself, maybe even your family, friends, and hopefully even your community.
Yes. Awesome. And I know we're coming on the 2 hour mark. I do have two more questions. One you might want to address later, but this one, Angel Girl asked, and I've been wanting to know the answer to this question because it speaks about it in the Bible, and because I've lost so many people. Angel Girl, you are vibrating on the same frequency as I. She wants to know, will we, or are our loved ones who passed away coming back with the ascension solar flash or with this new era into which we're going? Will we receive our dead, as the Bible calls it, or will they come back to us, Brother Tony?
I can't really answer that. I haven't really heard anybody saying that for me to even look
Okay.
to, but I doubt that.
Okay.
Okay. We are meant to live our life, and then from that point we pass on to the next, right? In
Okay.
whatever way. Now, some say, which is evidence to people being, they come back, they recycle back here, and just at a maybe a different time. I don't think it's necessarily instantaneous per se. Okay, maybe some time goes past, but there's, I think, more evidence to our ancestors being among us now than
Mm,
all of them coming back all at the same time or something. Okay, when I
okay.
say amongst us, necessarily maybe not even here directly in the prison colonies. They may be outside the colonies, but they come back here in some aspect. Okay, so that's some form of reincarnation. There's some evidence of that, because there's children who, when they begin to speak, I have some, there's some family members who are like that as well in my family, who were able
Mhm.
to tell of grand escapades.
Mm,
Okay, that they haven't read any stories or anything like that to influence their mind.
yes.
Okay. They may have even been homeschooled. Okay. So what they're talking about, there was no way for them to talk about. Okay.
Mhm.
And and based on their conversations, when we write them down and then we do our own research and look, we can see or find evidence to what this child is talking about, which may have been on the other side of the world. And I think, again, it's no evidence, nothing for them to put. I know this personally. Okay, there was
Okay.
no way for them to know what they know, because they haven't been exposed to anything to know that. Okay,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so and happens all over the place. Okay, um, so pretty much a person has information about their past life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of this, we know that that kind of brings evidence too, even though it's hard to verify other than hearing what they say and then doing your own research to verify maybe certain locations, stuff like that, to validate that what this child is saying is real. And I have myself. So that gives evidence to reincarnation, that at least some of us, for some reason, keep coming back. Okay. Is that
Yes.
everybody? Who knows? Again, as a scientist, again, I try to separate at times to be more objective. Okay. That science perspective, again, this is science is only the study of the realm, okay, in its attributes, right?
Okay.
So sometimes separate that from the metaphysical side of me, and so on and so forth, or the side that just wants to believe, let's say, in some form, right?
Okay.
And try to objectively look at something and to gather what it is, because we are in the new age. When I say the new age, not to the age of Aquarius, but after the reign of Christ, what they call the reign of Christ,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
after civilization was turned upside down, it's been a purposeful intent to keep humanity in a form of unknowing.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and so all this information we're talking about was known 100% at one point. Okay,
Wow.
well, we are just kind of discovering, getting bits and pieces of it, so on and so forth, because they still even hide most of it to this day.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully we're coming into, they say this is the era of disclosure as we're
Mm.
in the age of Aquarius, that some of this information will be uncovered. We'll find it out, or that maybe they'll just disclose it. So I appreciate you saying that. And as it relates to many different experiencing different lives, they say if you ask a child soon after it comes out of the womb, once they can speak, who they were, then that child can tell you
Mhm.
in many cases. So I asked my granddaughter when she was like 2 or almost 2, who were you? Were you here before? And she started like purring like a cat. And I was like, what are you doing? She said, I was a cat. She was like 2. And then she got on her like 4s and she started licking. I'm like, she was like, she started saying, purring. She's like, I was a cat, mommy. And this is my granddaughter. I was like, okay, did she hear this somewhere? So can we come back as different animals and different experiences, to your knowledge?
One way we can kind of get through the muck sometime
Yeah.
is looking at nature.
Okay.
Okay, see what
Okay.
nature does. Okay, for example, when you look at plants in nature, have you ever seen a rose bed come back as an avocado tree?
I haven't.
I haven't either. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so I'm not saying I don't have all the answers, right? I'm here
Yeah.
trying to discover and learn and so on and so
Mhm.
forth and everything else myself. But uh, I don't want to say one thing really one or the other, but there are
Right.
religions like the Hindu religion, some others that
Mhm.
do get into that and say that there is a progression of life. Like, it could get kind of out there where some people were an insect at one time, or maybe even an amoeba,
Yeah.
a single cell organism, and then they've been working their way up through certain
Yeah.
levels of consciousness. See, doing that takes away from the divine again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, and so
Okay.
that's why we have to be careful with that. Okay,
Okay.
because um saying that, let's say, being divine, or coming from a divine template, let's say,
Mhm.
and this is how you were from that divine template, is how we are, how we see each other now, let's say.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but instead saying you came from an ant, that
Mm.
kind of leads to some other kinds of, I mean, who knows? Okay,
Mhm.
kind of
Right.
leads into another direction where strange gods and spirits dwell, and not
Oh,
necessarily where uh the divine template comes from.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Speaking about the strange gods or creator gods, you may not have time for this question, and maybe you can answer it later, or maybe you want to give us a precursor into, whether or not you talk about this. But God's girl wants to know: do you know anything about the Anunnaki? God's girl came in late. They're going to watch. She's going to watch the replay. But do you know anything about the Anunnaki? Do you have time to address that, or how would you like to go about answering that question? And that's the final question for today.
Okay, so I would just say that many say that the Anunnaki really is a title. Okay, in some aspects, a group of entities that from heaven to earth came to maybe manipulate society itself, maybe even
Mm.
create the species of humans, right?
Yeah.
Or very advanced monkeys
Mhm.
to help to mine the gold, silver, and so on and so forth for their warships and everything else.
Yeah.
Again, it's a very nice story. Okay, and it could lead to all types of sci-fi movies and everything else, right? In which
Mhm.
sci-fi movies, they kind of depict this, but again, it goes back to, and I'm not saying it's true or not, but
Okay.
what I'm saying is that I'm extremely careful
Mm.
about those type of subjects because I know the agenda of the enemy of humanity, and
Mm.
that's to
Mhm.
take the glory away from the divine.
I see.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. And so anything that becomes extremely popular, especially
Mm.
that is making it seem that something is the creation, something, which it could be. It actually could be. But when I see that the enemy of humanity is the one that is promoting it majorly,
Mm.
okay, then I have to, my red flags go up and say,
Okay.
I'm not sure about that, because I know its agenda, and this agenda is to be adored. Its agenda, when I say adored, and this is biblically here,
Okay.
it wants to be looked at as, we call the meta center as the one. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's like the whole Satan character who wants everybody to look at him, versus, at least leaves in this as a story anyway, wants
Yeah.
everybody to look at him in the story versus looking at let's say God in the story.
Yeah.
Okay. And all these entities, that is, you could say in many cases, their father. Okay, they have the attributes, the DNA of that entity, where by any means necessary, they're looking for the world, a certain people, whatever it be, to look at them as the savior or as the one, versus just being a conduit, let's say, for the divine. Okay,
Okay.
to help
Yes.
all of us, because we're all in a certain way. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, mhm, mhm,
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I do know that you speak a little bit about aliens, and they can probably go to your
mhm,
channel to find
mhm.
information about that and how
Yes.
your perspective on aliens or foreign entities, as you would say.
Right, right. So that's a tons of videos up there. You know what I'm saying? We get into different subject from different angles and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm kind of more so nowadays leaning to the perspective that I gave, not really not really going deep into this to a certain extent, because it's got out of control. Okay.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
see that people who are at times their minds are easily influenced.
Hmm.
It leads not to just a conversation we're having. We could talk about different subjects and the evidence that I've seen. Like, I got tons of books behind me dealing with giants and everything, right? And so
Okay.
in actually real mounds and everything else where fossils were found and everything. Okay, and some of these books are very expensive books back here, so we could talk about these subjects. But sometimes I notice that these days and times is that it has went from, look at this subject, let's enjoy this subject, let's even investigate this subject, to I just want to believe. I want these to become my savior and
Yeah.
all other kind of strange things that it was never meant to be that way. Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't want to be the one who promotes that when I rather one connects to source, meditate, get their mind right, get their body right, connect to source, go deeper into that to see what their powers truly are. Okay. Because we are all in many ways superhuman ourselves, but some of those attributes of ourselves have been hidden or closed down, and this is the time to reawaken them.
Thank you so much. So you've been a wealth of knowledge for us. You've become like our resident advisor on spiritual and metaphysical things. And our family loves you. They've been buying products from you. Any final words before I ask you where we can find your work? Any
Uh,
final words for us?
just get yourself right in 2024. This is the year of the human. Okay. If you're watching material, listen to material that makes you afraid or that takes your awareness from where it should be to something else, okay, that it should not be, turn that material off. Okay.
Mhm.
That's extremely important. Know that even if you have no friends, no families, it's you out here and you just want some inspiration per se. Okay. Truly understand this, that the Meta Center is here and I want you to do what you need to do. I want you to succeed in what you need to succeed in. That's why we're here. Okay. And so you have someone here who truly is rooting you on, all of you all on, for real. Okay. So just know that.
I lost you for a minute, Tony. I'm so
Uh,
sorry.
I was wondering where you went. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Did you get to finish? Because I lost you for a minute. I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Overall, gave them some encouragement to keep on, to do what they need to do, and so on and so forth. And know that even if nobody else is telling you doing a good job, if no one else is telling you to continue, and so on and so forth, that the Meta Center is here, and we really want you to do that. We want you to be the best you could be. Also, for what reason though, right?
Yeah.
Because we're here because of you, right? So
Okay.
if you're not the best that you can be, right, that means you're not going to support us,
Right.
right? And us helping even more people, right?
Right.
So that's the feedback loop that I like to talk about. Okay, where in your time, some people come here and they have nothing going on all day, so when we become the superhuman version of themselves. We have lots of people like that. Okay, so whether it be in that context or whether it be the context of someone really does need some help and support, right? We're
Yeah.
here, right? And in turn, in us helping you, you most feel that our services are reliable and also important enough to then support us, right? Which allows us to support more, which and then those help to support us, and it just keeps that feedback loop going on. And so, yes, I'm purposely here and looking forward for you being the best, because if you're the best, that means that we can even be better.
Yes, and what I like about your work, Tony, is that you have herbs, you have teas. I'm going to bring up that website for everybody. You also do consultations. You can help people with their careers, find out the trajectory of their lives. You
Mhm.
do something kind of like horoscopes. I mean, and you also have this technology that is pretty advanced and maybe be the precursor to the med beds a lot of us know about. I think you told me about a technology that can scan the body. Is that correct? At the
Scans the
medicine?
body. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a helmet as well. We put on, can scan you from head to toe. We do research, that's the prostate research there, into men. That's some of our travels there on the screen there. So we do iridology,
Mhm.
and we are even getting other types of equipment in here like sound beds and all kind of stuff as well,
Mhm.
to help with forms of relaxation and other. We do mind mapping where I'm able to put a device over your head and actually map how your consciousness is at this very moment. Okay. And I could tell you, like we could see on the screen, for example, I say, okay, meditate this way. And you could see how the brain waves in your mind are actually changing in that moment to that better state where you actually need to be in. Okay. And so
Oh,
we have all of this again. So, and more coming.
okay. And did you say there was something where you can do you do some kind of eye therapy where you can, I don't know, scan the eyes or
Yes.
something like that? Okay. Okay.
Yep. Iridology. Hmm.
Iridology. Many different products and services, family. You can go to the Meta Center here, the Meta Center. Type in metacenterchicago.com. If you order products, then you go on, click on the website. He has herbs, and you'll see right here. What else do you have? Teas, herbs, concerns, seeds. diodes, monoatomics, which is colloidals and monoatomic gold, silver, and other entity and other things you could take, magnets, fashion, and services. Make sure at the end when you go to the, what is it called, the cart, you put in our discount code, and people have been utilizing that. We gave you the most we could give you off, so that's a blessing. You can get 11% off, which is really good. Put in code DRKIA 2024 so that you can get your discount. Put that in at the checkout. Where else can we find your work?
On the website, you on the YouTube itself, so you'll see it on YouTube. Also, we do have events here at the center from time to time. Click on the event calendar on the website. It'll tell you what events we have coming up. And so we do have a few events coming up in a few months, so those will all be announced soon.
Okay, so that is the YouTube channel, and then lastly, I'm going to bring up Instagram. You're active on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, so let me bring that up, and here it is. You can find it. This is his symbol here, his logo. So you'll see it here on Instagram.com/the Meta Center. All right. Were you going to say something else, Brother Tony? Minister Tony?
That was all.
Okay. Well, family, having said that, we hope you enjoyed the show. It has been our great pleasure to bring Minister Dr. Tony Vortex here from the Meta Center. He will be here on Wellness Wednesday once per month. He's given us so much information. We love him so much. We appreciate you joining the show today, and we trust and hope we said something to raise your vibrations and inspire you to create the most amazing, magnificent life that you desire and deserve. Peace, family. We love you. Bye-bye.